Hi, my name is Rachel. If we've never met before, I like to talk about holistic health, spirituality, intimacy, overcoming suffering, becoming your happiest and highest self. And yeah, if this video helps you, then I'd love if you give it a like, comment your experience down below, subscribe if you want to hear more. This is going to be more of a vulnerable one for me today, and it's powerful and important for me to vocalize it. And I've also said before that my journey has not only helped me grow and evolve, but it has been to help other people. So without further ado, I'm going to talk about my experience being alcohol-free, alcohol in general, and my thoughts on it. So yeah, here we go. Oh, I also like to preface, I only talk about my personal experience because I can't talk about anybody else's story, just where I've been at in my life and the choices I've made. So I grew up in Minnesota, which is in America, which is in USA, and I was born in 1994. And when I was growing up, there were so many messages in movies and stories about being in high school and being cool and popular and partying and drinking and living your life to the fullest and whatever, right? And then when I was in high school, I was like, no, actually, when I was in 5th grade, I took DARE. DARE, what is it? I don't know. DARE. I forget what it stands for, but I took that very seriously. Like, there's a part of me that is a rule follower. There's also a part of me that's a rebel, but I was like, oh, like drugs and alcohol are bad. Like, that's not something I'm going to dabble in. Now, I'll also say, so then I got to middle school and high school, and I was like, I did not want to engage in risk-taking behaviors, okay? Which I understand that many teenagers do. I know that I've always been a very old soul, so it makes sense at a very young age. I was like, I'm not interested in what other teenagers and kids are doing. Like, I did not want to do any of that. So I didn't drink until college a couple times, and I was like, that's fun. You know, it was fun. I do remember feeling pretty crappy after every time I did it, no matter what, like that next day. So now, from what I know about myself and my body, like, I've always been very sensitive, but that's just more adding to my toxic load and my body that's like, I want to be my happiest and highest self. So those substances are just very exhausting to my body. Now we're gonna get into some other fun stuff. There is alcoholism on my mom's side of the family. A couple people that are sober. So, you know, what I think about genetics and from what I've seen and studied is that we all have genes and DNA, right? It's just energy handed down because it's not something you can physically see. You can probably see it under a microscope, right? You can see DNA, but it's just patterns that are handed down because when you're formed, it's like something microscopic plus something microscopic coming together to form you, right? And then you grow and your cells grow and you multiply. So there's just genetic information and DNA that's handed down to make you. So if there has been a pattern and in your lineage of whatever health ailment you can think of, then when the body does become stressed and the stress response turns on, then those remembrances of how to cope with stressors or genetic dispositions can also get turned on, right? Because all that stress is happening, so your cells are like, I'm trying to be healthy. Your body wants a state of homeostasis, but it's like, how I'm going to be healthy and happy is maybe some actions that aren't super aligned with creating your healthiest body. Not a judgment, like, this is where we get into the next part of the story. I have huge empathy for addicts, and I think why is because I feel very, very deeply, and I understand that people that choose substances like alcohol and other things, they're feeling very, very deeply, and they don't want to feel that pain so deep. So they're like, how can I not feel this pain? right? So then they try something and they're like, oh, this is the fix that I've been looking for. This is how I don't feel this pain. However, it's a quick fix, right? And it's a quick fix because you take it or you ingest it and you feel better. But then your mood is eventually going to crash, or that wearing down, sorry, you're going to come off the substance and the high. Then you're going to want to do it again because it's like, I feel just as crappy as I did before, if not worse. So I get the cycle. I've studied it. I've always been fascinated by it. I have been in a relationship with someone that shows those behaviors growing up. So my experience in that, dating someone who chose to cope with problems in that way, was, I mean, I eventually realized, like, as long as that is in their life, they're always going to choose that over anyone else in their life. Like, that's what's going to come first. I understand that even though I'm a fixer and a healer and I feel so much and I'm so empathic, I can't fix and tell people what to do to become fixed. So I wasn't really in that pattern anymore. But it more came in the choice of, like, what I just said. Like, as long as that is going to be in their life, that's going to be their emotional crutch. And with that information, you know, what do I do with that? Is it okay with me? Is it not okay? You know. Then I have also faced the reality of most people do choose to drink, and because I don't, it's like, well, why don't I fit in there? You know, like, okay, I choose to not do this. It is on the rise from what I can tell, which is cool. I just don't really understand why humans and people have had this draw and a very interesting relationship with alcohol for a very long time. I do see, maybe not through it, or maybe it's a message I'm here to share with people, that when people drink, they do it because they want to feel more like themselves or more comfortable in themselves. I do see it as a mask and a band-aid for, like, oh, I can really be myself, right? Your inhibitions are down. You feel comfortable enough to say stuff that you don't normally feel comfortable enough to say. You take actions and brave and courageous because your fear response is a little more down, so you feel more like, I can do that now. I can do that in this altered state. Which, for me, I envision a future and will work towards and for. I want people to feel that way all the time because that's how I feel now. Like, yeah, I have bad days where it's like, leave me alone, but on the grander scale, I have more days and times where I can, like, I'm myself and I don't care who what people think about me nearly as much as I did. And I take brave and courageous action without needing to have my fear response down. But that's probably because I've worked on lowering my overall fear. And I've taken brave and courageous steps over an amount of time as well. But yes, there's, like I said, this weird, because then it's like, oh, okay, like, I have friends in my life that choose to do that and they don't invite me to that stuff, which is fine. I'm fine being on my own. But then it's like, in a relationship, like, there were two men in the last couple, like, a month or two. I was very drawn to them for a number of reasons, but they both have drank a lot of alcohol and they're my age and they have gained so much weight from who they were when they were younger. And I'm like, like, I'm drawn to athletic types and shapes and figures, and people just drink and drink and drink and they get fatter. Like, they gain more body fat. We all get to make choices. And if you feel really not even in your power to understand why you're making certain choices, that's where I want to be like, yo, like, let's help you understand why you're making this choice. If you don't like it, and if it's not bringing you more of the stuff you actually want, if you're just in this cycle of chasing the next weekend, of chasing the next time you can be in an altered state, of chasing the next weekend, you know, the next big celebration, the next wedding, the next whatever, I imagine that, like I said, you chase that high, you get high, but then you crash, so then you chase that high again. And I'm all about, like, let's have the most happiest, healthiest, abundant life that you can. So you really got to zoom out and remember the long-term game. Especially if, you know, like substance abuse or issues are in your family, like you might be the one that's breaking that cycle in your family. And it's not easy. That's why people stay in cycles and patterns, because it's hard to break them. You have to look at your traumas, you have to look at your wiring, you have to have some scary conversations, you have to learn how to forgive people, even though you really don't want to forgive them. This is why people don't go on that path. However, I can tell you from experience, not in this specific example of drinking alcohol my whole life and stopping, but I can tell you from personal experience, you becoming liberated and your most highest, happiest self and overcoming challenges and patterns that you've had for life will bring you so much resilience and bravery and courage to step into the life that you want, which is speaking to other people about how they can change their lives, which is having more energy on a daily basis, which is having a more improved mood on a daily basis, which is truly following your joy, which might be going outside more, which might be only connecting with awesome people, which might be creating art or creating something else, which might be like what I like to do, like speaking my truth and creating offers and holding containers that feel really, really good in giving back and helping people overcome this really deep, intense stuff. There is no nutritional benefit to alcohol. It's basically just sugar water. What else? Again, water is really the only thing you need to drink to survive. So even like obviously milk and pop, don't need those. We're made up mainly of water. All life needs water on Earth, right? Animals, humans, plants. So all the other things we've created have they're not needed. So if you want to strip it down to create your happiest, highest, most abundant life, water is the only beverage you need. Did I say everything I wanted to? Yeah, so I don't know. I think when people are like, I'm sober, like I'm so happy for them. I'm like, hell yeah, you overcame something really, really difficult. And I also just want to say, if you've never been drawn to that, because then I always get the question, like, well, why don't you drink? And it's like, it's poison. Like, it makes me feel sick. I don't like it. I never liked it. It's this weird, like, again, just another, oh, this is me and this is like everyone else in the population. But then I'm like, okay, well, there's a reason for that, right? If that needs to be the case, so I can give back and I can kind of not be a part of the herd, so I can make the changes I want to on this earth, then fine. That's the importance of recreating your meaning of something that's happened. Because I can play in the victim mode and the, well, why am I all alone, sad, you know, whatever. Or, like I just said, I can rewire it. Well, there's a reason for it, and I'm going to choose to make it positive and empowering and help other people and give back. So let me know if this has helped you. Give me comments down below of your thoughts, your experiences, people in your family. If you want to overcome something, if you want to share a win, whatever. I love to hear it. I love hearing people's experiences and stories. Subscribe if you want to hear more. But yeah. Oh, and then I will link down below other resources like my podcast, my website. If you want more one-on-one support with a reading or coaching or healing, then I'll put my email down below. I think I'm just going to put my email in my videos for now. But yeah, thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Bye.